This morning, we begin with the anti-LGBTQ bill and the matters already relating to the anti-LGBTQ bill, and we'll get into the conversations.
Object of the bill. This is what promotion of and advocacy for activities prohibited under this act. This is the main thrust of the object of the bill. This is what we don't have in any part of our existing laws, for which this bill came about. Clause 2 says that nobody should promote any such things. Don't do things that will entice, advocate for, and make it enticing, incentivize, advertise, campaign for it. Don't do it. But they say that no, insert this immunity. This is an immunity clause. You are lifting them above the law and saying that if you are within these categories, you can do anything that promotes LGBT, that advocates for LGBT, supports and sponsors LGBT, enables LGBT, and just by virtue that you fall within these categories, as for you, you are above the law.
Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said when I was the opposition leader, the President has a number of options.
The voice of President John Dramani Mahama there while he was speaking in London. We've been joined by John Baptist Ayeji, private legal practitioner and law lecturer at the University for Professional Studies. Counsel, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too. Thank you for having me.
A lot of Ghanaians are hearing different things. Parliament says the bill has been passed, we know. The President says there's still some way to go. And the Speaker is also surprised at the speed of the passage. The instructions he gave was that it be considered. Questions about quorum, amongst others. So there are questions being raised about procedure. So right now, help us understand where we actually are in the process.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. Then good morning to your listeners. So, one, the basic things we need to understand is that when it comes to passing law within our current jurisprudence is the Parliament that are given the power to pass law. So all laws that we are guided by are passed by Parliament. And if you look at Article 106, it takes the provision or the steps that Parliament has to go through to pass their laws. And they have what they call their standing orders as well that they use to pass the law. So in spite of this specific law, they've been able to go through the process. And then, for some of us who are not MPs and parliamentarians, we are not seized with some of the requirements that they have to go through. And we can't tell whether or not they've been able to go through all of them. But at this stage, they have different stages. And from what we have heard, they've gone through all these stages before finally the law is passed. And then when the law is passed, then it becomes a bill. It becomes a bill. And then now, after, the president assent to it, that is when now it becomes. So for those of us who are outside, the presumption is that they've gone through all the processes that ought to be gone through, and then the law is passed according to both the constitutional provisions and then their standing orders. But the recent, statement by starting with the Parliament and even the Speaker, I should say, and even before the Speaker came to make a statement, the minority have started raising issues of some clauses. So all these things seem to suggest that maybe some things would have gone amiss. So basically that's where we are now in respect of the bill. So to summarize, those of us outside, the presumption is that everything has gone right, and then it has been passed, and what is left should be for the bill to be sent to the president, announced to the president, he assents it, and it becomes law.
I see. So what now should happen between parliamentary passage and presidential assent? What should happen between those two?
So once the bill has been passed, then the Constitution makes a provision within which it should be sent to the president. Then the president will have to assent to it. But however, what we know is that after it has been sent, after it has been passed, I should say, they still make few corrections before it's sent to the president. But if you look at the Constitution, the provision is that once it has been passed at the parliamentary level, then the next stage will be for them to send it to the president, and then to the president to assent to it. Even when it comes to those ones, the assent of the president, today there are provisions where the president, for some reason, can decide not to assent to it, and then there's a requirement that it has to go through. I'm sure that if fresh in our mind, the last parliament, what happened in respect of the same bill, where the president has, even at a point, written to parliament not to even bring it. So basically, the provision of the Constitution in respect of passing a bill is that once it has been passed, the next stage would have been to send it to the president, and then the president will just have assent to it, and it becomes a law.
So is it now more of a constitutional conversation than a political one?
I think from what I have heard, I've not heard any constitutional breach. So I'm inclined to say that it's more a political one, because what I've heard from the minority is that the content has been diluted. And then from my understanding of the clauses that have been removed from the bill, I saw that, in fact, the bill would have been dead in arrival, or those sections that have been removed. If they've not been removed, they have been dead in arrival, because they seem to state some, because the content of those clauses, some of which are outrageous, are even absurd to even think of it. So I understand that those provisions are the ones that have been removed. So if provision has been removed and then it has been passed, then I really don't see a constitutional issue. But again, if there are issue of quorum, then it becomes a constitutional issue, because of even the recent case, that is Abdullah case, where we all remember again the issue of this e-levy, and then how it was passed and ended up in the court, and the court was clear when it comes to quorum, and then when it comes to who should vote, when it comes to when a law, when passed, can be deemed to be lawfully passed based on the quorum of the MPs. So yes, these are the two issues. So if the issue at hand now has to do with quorum, then it's a constitutional issue. But what I've heard from the minority, if what I've heard is right, I've not heard them raising issue of quorum. I've heard them raising issue of content, and that one will not be a constitutional, issue, but rather maybe procedural, or what one thing should be part or it shouldn't be passed.
Okay, Council, let's now take a few steps back. So Parliament has passed the bill, and then it should get to the President, John Dramani Mahama. How does it get there?
Yes, so if I understand the question, where you are asking that when the bill has been passed, how does it get to the President? Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, so they have their internal procedures how to forward it to the desk of the President. If you remember, the last government even had the majority leader being a minister, more or less as the link between the cabinet or the presidency and the parliament. Good. But in this case, we don't have such portfolio. But because of the kind of system that we run, where all the three arms are more or less, linked to each other, and when it comes to passing law, because of the role that the president plays, they have their internal procedure to just send it to parliament.
So if it gets to the president...
Sorry, send it to the president.
Yes, send it to the president. So if the bill gets to the president and there are the concerns that he's raising or he raised during in the interview with in the interview in London, what avenues are there to address the concerns that may arise in relation to the document that has gotten to the president?
All right. So when you send to the president and then the president has concerns about the contents of the bill, the law provides that he returns it to Parliament with those concerns that he has raised. And then now the Parliament will reconsider those concerns and then come up with a decision whether or not they want to change it or they don't want to change it. So they can decide to change it, then they change those concerns or they attend to those concerns and then they send it back to him and then he'll sign. But in case Parliament thinks otherwise and then decide not to do that, the law allows them to even veto the power of the president. Because remember, I started this statement by saying that when it comes to passing law, it's given to the Parliament. Parliament has the override power when it comes to passing law. So the law allows them, with some number in the House, to even veto the president, as in the power of the president, and still go ahead and pass the law.
I see. So how much discretion does the president actually have at this stage?
If we want to talk politically, he has a lot. And then if we want to talk legally, maybe he may not have that much. But politically, I say he has a lot because, Parliament is made up of MPs, and then the MPs come from a party, and then the president comes from the same party. So at the back door, they can more or less, and then the president is more or less like, if you like, the head of the political party, and then in some extent could even direct the MPs, even though the separation of powers will not allow that. And it's still fresh in our mind, this issue of the OSP, where the president was opposed to it, and the majority leader and then the majority chief whip decided to use a private bill. And then the president said, no, this is not what I want. And we all saw that the thing, it was, short-lived. So, politically speaking, and then when it comes to backdoor, work, the president has a lot of power. But when it comes to legal, well, the president's power at this stage will not be able to override the power of the MPs. If the MPs have the numbers, then the law allows them to still override the president and still do what they do. But you and I know that this one can only be theory. In practice, something else will happen.
I see. Based on the trajectory of what has happened, are there any lessons lawmakers and the public, are there any lessons they can take from the journey this bill has taken so far?
Yes, there are a number of lessons that we can learn. Parliament is very partisan, and when I say partisan, it's divided between two parties. And then if there are laws attest to that, fact that you can't be in Parliament and be a neutral person, you have to align to one of the parties, either the minority and the majority. So, and if you look at this bill, the starting point, you see that there are members from both sides, both the minority and then the majority. So it means that there's a consensus between the parties, and we hardly see this kind of things when minority, NPP and DCU agree on the same thing. Maybe when it comes to their salaries and the rest, we know that they agree. But when it comes to political issues, they hardly agree. But in this case, you have people from the NPP, such as Reverend Tim Fojo and the rest, who have agreed, and they have been part of the process. Good. So to this light, I'll have to agree with the speaker that says that he believes such a bill should be passed unanimously. Like it must be unanimous vote. So what we can learn from here is that when it comes to issues like that, there must be discussion among the two, and they should be able to iron all their issues or their differences, such that a bill is not passed, and then you have a session holding a press conference, stating some of their misgivings about that. So that's one thing that we need to learn. And then the other thing has to do with the public. So this one has to do with more the MPs, but the next one has to do with the public. When they come and they start disagreeing on things like that, then some of us who are outside there, then we'll start asking questions that what really is going on. Is it a case that they can't even agree on some of these things? So it makes us a bit doubt. It puts us in a doubt when it comes to what they do, when it comes to Parliament, and then the processes that they go through. Good. So that's another one. And then maybe the other issue will have to do with even the bill, the nature of the bill. From what I have heard, it appears that the whole nation is behind the bill. Like, you hardly find people, coming against having a legislation to that effect. And then the recent case involving Dr. Obri Wahin, in respect of Section 104, seems to suggest that even our Supreme Court seems to have a position when it comes to these sexual offenses and their orientation. Good. So if the whole public seems to be behind it, then the least that the parliamentarian can do is to give effect to what the nation or what the majority of citizens want them to do, because they are our representatives and they go and do what we ask them to do. But if it seems that there's a bit of, controversy, contradiction in respect of that, then again, one may argue that they seem to undermine the power that has been given to them by their respective constituents. So these are some of the few things that can be done. And then finally, there must be, more or less, because the speaker seems to be suggesting that when I was leaving, I told those that I'm handing over that do A, B, C, D. It seems as if then they've got to do something else. So, some may start questioning even the power of the speaker. I mean, no doubt, everyone has a lot of respect for our current speaker. He has been in the parliament for, so many years. And I think in the history of Ghana, he's the speaker that has even been elected by the opposition party. When I say opposition party, even though his party had a minority, he still won an election to become an MP. So he's a lot respected. But for him to be suggesting through his, public utterance that he had left instructions and then behind him something else went on contrary to what he has left, seems to suggest that maybe, I don't know to say whether or not his orders have not been taken seriously, or those that he has given those powers have decided to do their own thing, or his authority has been undermined. I don't have authority to say that, too much evidence to say that his authority has been undermined, but from what he has said, it seems to suggest that he has left instruction for something to be done and then something that was done, and that is not good. And moving forward, we should try to avoid these things.
And it brings me to my last question to you, Counsel, that based on the comments of the Speaker, are there any implications we should be prepared for in terms of law?
Implication against the speakers, or against the MPs, or against who?
Whether or not, if the Speaker leaving instructions for consideration and then he realizes that it's been passed, are there any concerns we can, get from that? Any advice, anything we should be careful doing next time?
Yes, absolutely. And that was the point that I was alluding to. But there's no legal remedy, because these things they are their own internal, arrangements. So it's not what I seek to say is that there's no law that says that if the speaker say do ABCD and then you go and do something, then there are legal, punishments attached to you doing. No, these are their internal issues. So they will have to resolve it internally. But obviously, it doesn't speak well about the whole parliament and the way the leadership, the structure of the leadership works. Because if the president say do ABCD, if the speaker say ABCD, and then you disagree with it, then you should have you should discuss it or speak out what people will rather pass it, and you should be able to agree before you go ahead. But now the impression is being created. We've not heard from the leadership side, but from the speaker side, at least we know that he said they should do something and they want to do something else. And for me, it doesn't augur well to Parliament.
Council, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. I'm grateful for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
John Baptist Ayaji is a private legal practitioner, also a lecturer at the University of Professional Studies. In support, the driver said, we want an increase because fuel prices keep going up. I put together this report. Listen to it. Increases and spare parts cost. Transport operators in Ghana are divided over a proposed 20% increase in public transport fares, with fuel price recording marginal increases and spare parts cost continuing to rise. Operators say they are facing mounting pressure to sustain their businesses and keep services running. As a result, a section of the transport industry has proposed a 20% upward adjustment in fares. For some drivers, this is a good starting point.
It have a lot of impact because now they have to increase fare. If fare increases too, they will increase spare parts. If spare parts increase, they will increase foodstuffs and many things.
The price of fuel has been increased multiple times. Spare parts are now costly. All these factors go against us. The increase is welcomed.
I think this 20% cannot help us at all, honestly speaking. About 30% it will be better. 30% maybe we'll manage. Even that one too also is a problem actually, but we'll manage.
It doesn't help us at all. At least, roughly, if they can make it up until 30%, it's going to help us.
But 20% is not enough. I think it should be like 30%.
In some way, it's going to benefit someone, and another way, someone is going to suffer. Because the 20% is going to help us at least manage the fuel that we buy, because it's like we are going inside, our income is going inside the fuel. So, but in the other way, the passenger who is receiving a little salary is also going to suffer.
Meanwhile, passengers are expressing concern over the possible impact of any increase on their cost of living, warning that higher fares will further strain household incomes already affected by inflation.
An increase in fuel prices won't help us right now. My sales aren't good. I will increase the price of my goods if fuel prices go up.
Just as discussions on the proposed percentage adjustment continue, the road transport operators say the purported 20% increase should be disregarded. The group insists consultations are still ongoing, adding that they remain in continuous engagement and negotiation with the Ministry of Transport to reach a consensus. All of us, it hits almost every pocket directly. We're talking about transport fares. The group says that transport fares, they wanted to increase by 20%. We're talking about the Concerned Drivers Association, citing fuel prices, spare parts, batteries, tires, engine oil, general vehicle maintenance costs. According to the union, the increase should have come earlier, but they held back, hoping fuel prices would fall. Now they say that drivers are struggling with an adjustment. So an adjustment has become unavoidable. But for commuters, this is another blow. Salaries have not gone up by 20%. Food prices, rent, school fees, and utility bills are already stretching families. So they are unable to pay this proposed 20% increase. Kujo is joining us to help us understand and put this in perspective for us in the ledger of facts. Transport fares up by 20%. The big conversation. Kay, what are we looking at?
Yes, we are looking at the transport fare increase by 20%, and I think we want to understand if it's a fair adjustment or another blow to the Ghanaian commuter. And we're going to be touching on the cost of living, fuel, inflation, accountability, and household impact. So if you quite remember, the 20% increment, which is the approved increase, is in public transport fares nationwide, was announced. It was announced previously, and the effective date was 2nd June 2026, which is the official commencement date.
Which is today.
Which is today.
Or which is expected to be today.
Yes. So we asked who announced it. It was two major transport bodies. That's the GPRTU and the Commercial Transport Operators Ghana. They announced the increment. Then we want to understand who it affects. So it affects millions. Trotros, taxis, intercity buses, commercial transport services, the Uber, the boats, the whatnot. Then we look at the petrol price movement. Now, previously, it was pegged at 14.60 Ghana cedis. And currently, with this increase, there would be a 0.60 pesos increase. That's an increase of 4.1%.
Right.
So if we look at the current price per liter, we are looking at 15 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos per liter. Then we look at the diesel price movement as well, which is pegged at 15 Ghana cedis, 49 pesos per liter.
Right.
Previously, it was 15 Ghana cedis, 81 pesos, and it has decreased by 32 pesos. That's less 2.0%. So if we look at it from that perspective, you'd realize that fuel for petrol, there has been an increment, and for diesel, there has been a decrease.
A slight decrease.
Yes. And then we look at LPG price movement as well.
Okay.
Previously, it was pegged at 357 Ghana cedis, 6 pesos, and it has increased to 365 Ghana cedis, 29 pesos. So that also indicates a 2.3% increment. Now we look at the inflation reality. With inflation pegged at 3.4% as of April 2026. The previous month was 3.2. Obviously, when fuel prices go up, inflation also adjusts accordingly.
Okay.
So we look at COPEC's position. COPEC stated a 15% increase would have been more appropriate, but the actual increase is 20%. But they would have wished that the increment was 20%. Yes. And then we look at the commuter impact. If we look at the commuter impact, we would be looking at examples of new fares after 20% increase. So if you were previously paying 5 Ghana cedis, you will be paying 6 Ghana cedis now.
That's what it means.
If you were paying 10 Ghana cedis, you will be paying 12 Ghana cedis now. And if you were paying 20 Ghana cedis, you would be paying 24 Ghana cedis now. And if you were doing 50 Ghana cedis, you would be doing 60 Ghana cedis now.
Okay.
100 Ghana cedis, you'll be doing 120 Ghana cedis now. So this is the commuter impact. Transport users, road users. This is the impact on the increment, the new fares.
Okay.
If we look at household impact, a family of 4, assuming there are 2 working adults, 2 trips daily, 10 Ghana cedis average fare. That means there's a 96 Ghana cedis plus additional transport burden per month. And then we look at the wage comparison. Transport at 20% increment, and inflation moved from 3.2 to 3.4. Public sector salary adjustments as of 2026 is 10%. So the key question remains our fares rising faster than income.
What is your answer to that?
I think we'll leave it as the big question for our social media audience, our digital audience, to share their opinion on that. Our fares rising faster than income.
Okay.
We know the obvious answer, but I mean, let's hear from you.
Okay, hold on for me. Let me engage with David Aguado. David Aguado is with Concerned Drivers Association. In fact, he is the PRO of the Concerned Drivers Association. He's joining us. David, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing good, my brother.
Let's start with this. Let's get this clarification. Let's get it out of the way. The proposed 20% increase in transport fares, it came from your end, yes?
Yes. It's from our end that today on the 2nd will be increasing transport fares. But upon meeting with the transport minister yesterday, the president intervened that yes, he is not in the country, but he's interested in this transport fare issue. So we should wait for him on his back, then we'll sit down and judge and put things together. And this is what have come to our domain, and we are waiting for the president to come so that we dialogue and then put it at its prospective place.
When you were proposing the 20%, does it suggest that there had not been engagements with the transport ministry?
Yes, I would say we went to the transport ministry, but the minister is not there, neither the deputy. We went there several times. The last one was when we went and meet him, and he said he's going to a program at school. And we, the transport operators, or give it right to do the needful. Why are we saying we need to do the needful? We have 5 components that we use to charge transport fare. All these 5 components have gone up, except inflation that is down.
Okay.
But the rest 4 components are up.
Okay, we'll get to the reason for the proposed increments. We'll get there shortly. So, did the increase come as a result of how unpleased you were over the absence of the minister and the deputy all the time that you went there? Because it is coming across as though you had concerns you wanted to share with them, and they did not seem welcoming enough, so you had to take the decision you wanted to.
Yes. You see, there is this saying that if you want to speak to God, you air it and it gets to God. We want to talk to them. We wrote to them, we try all the means. It hasn't. But since we indicate that today on the 2nd, we'll increase transport fare, they were forced to call us yesterday, that was on the 1st. So if it happened this way, that they will not be on their toes and do what is right for we, the transporters. We will also take what we can do to make, or what we can do to keep our industry. And this is what we are doing.
Okay, but originally, now let's go to the factors that you were considering to increase it. And then I want to ask this, so you increased it because they were not minding you?
Come again?
I'm asking that you proposed the 20% increase because, as it were, the ministry was not paying enough attention to you and you were not happy about it.
Oh, I will not say that, but it's due for us to increase transport fare because the components that we use to charge transport fare, all of them have gone up, including even government-owned charges, like DVLA charges, have gone up by 45%.
Okay, now let's talk about the components. You mentioned 5 of them. What do you consider before you increase transport fares?
Things that we consider or we use to, we use in terms of increasing transport or decrease it. It starts with fuel. Then it goes with lubricant. It comes to spare parts. Then it comes to stationery and printing. When we mean stationery and printing, is the insurance, roadworthy, and assemblies and all this that borders with rifling. And then the 5th one is inflation. In the 5 that I mentioned, there's this 5 components. Spare parts has gone up, lubricant has gone up, fuel has gone up. stationery and printing has also gone up, except inflation that is down. And that alone cannot seize the way that we cannot increase transport fare. That's the reason why we, the transporters, all, including the almighty DPRH, were part of the delegation.
But inflation we have seen is very low. It was taking a nosedive. Does it not compensate, or does it not make up for some of the other things?
No. You see, this is how it happens at times. At times, we sit on the table like 3-4 times before we come out with the fare. And the fare too is not being charged by the ministry. It is we and then the workers over there that put it together, because we come out with our percentage and they also come out with a percentage, and we strike it and we get the balance, and the balance is what we use as a transport fare.
I see. So now what's the situation is that you've put the 20% increase on hold.
Exactly so. The 20% increase has been put on hold. So we meet the president. We are not charging the 20%.
Okay.
And even if we meet the president, we are going to Georgia, as it happened the other time that we were about to increase transport fare. We air that we are going to take 15%. But the president come in and intervene that we should wait till the next window. The next window, it comes and they reduce it by 2 cedis. And 2 cedis on a fuel a liter is not small money. So we abide by it, and that is how we are coping before things start to get out of hands now. And that is why we are asking that the state or the people of Ghana should add 20% to it, that the president has put hold on for now.
I see. So when the president comes and you're having the engagement with him, what will you be looking out for in the negotiation? What position would you want government to take?
Yes, what we'll be looking out for the negotiation is this. You see, as the dynamics are changing, our transport system must change as Ghanaians. Why am I saying this? Government adds a fleet of buses to Metro Mass. And we, the transport commercial operators, or we, the transport operators, do purchase the vehicle ourselves. And the price or lorry fare is being determined by government. So we are asking that government should find a way that we should have an agreement with indigenous banks or foreign banks that will be adding fleet to our fleet every year, so that in 10 years we can change the fleet. The old one will go up and then the new one will be replaced. That's one. Second one, government should make this arrangement that any new catchment area that we are going to build henceforth, a modern terminal must be built over there for passengers and then drivers who have shelter over there and be free. That's the second one. The third one is that the state or the government must make or must support DVLA agenda of building hospital for drivers. Because most of us are sick, but we don't have our own hospital that will be going routine checkup. You hear that driver is going and there is an accident or nothing. You don't cross-check what's the cause. At times, fatigue and then tiredness cause all these things. But if we have hospital and we'll be going fluently, we'll be checked. David. So if you ask me, this is what I'll ask the state that we should be considering now.
So number one is the fleet thing you mentioned?
Yes.
And then number two is some healthcare package?
Yeah.
But how would
the terminal. And then number three is the hospital.
How would you relate these demands that you're making to the general conversation of fuel prices and transport fares increment?
Yes, the reason why I'm relating it to is that if government have a say in adding fleet to our fleet, we'll also consider that, because the vehicles that we are using is individual purchases vehicles that we are using. But if government will subsidize it for drivers, that means government have a say in it. Whatever he says we should do, or however it ends, that's the way we are going to change to.
I see. It's interesting, the demands that you're making. Don't you think it's a little bit on the high side?
It's not of the high side because Ghanaians are important for Ghana. If Ghanaian traveler or Ghanaian commuter is being catered for by providing a very nice vehicle. You see, this rainy season, you see the way people are wet in vehicles while it's raining. If we had a fleet or a buses that are good, have a good condition like the one that the transport minister just brought in and they adored the other time, everybody will be happy while staying in this vehicle.
I see. David, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program, sir.
Thank you to my brother.
David Agbado is the PRO of the Concerned Drivers Association speaking with us there. The news is that the proposed 20% increase, it has been suspended pending a meeting, because the president intervened, and now they are waiting to have a proper formal meeting with the president, and they have a few demands they're making. It's interesting.
So, Crosby, if I'm correct, he's saying that there are attempts to engage the transport minister.
Yes.
Was not successful.
Yes, it was. They didn't have a smooth time engaging with the transport minister,
and for that reason, they went ahead to make the decision that they did.
And when they did, the ministry called them.
Yes.
We'll talk about that shortly, but I understand we have to go on Zoom right away and then have a conversation with Dr. River Singh Opong. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber for Oil Marketing Companies, COMAG. Doc, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Chief. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for making time as well. Over the past few days, fuel prices have gone up again, becoming a major talking point. And as we know, whenever fuel moves up, transport operators, businesses, and consumers, they all begin to pay attention. So help us understand what has been driving this recent movement we're seeing at the pumps. Inflation is still very low. The city seems to be doing well. So what else are we looking at?
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's not just a generic statement I want to make here that fuel price went up. And he mentioned right away that diesel went down.
That's true.
Globally, right? And petrol went up. And I've been educating people through social media and all these platforms, letting you know that, yes, crude oil price can come down, but its commodity, based on demand and supply, can shoot up. The argument today, you are extremely right. Every indicator shows that everything should have come down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So indeed, crude oil prices came down by almost 5%. But at the same time, petrol, which we call the PMS, went up. Whereas AGO went down and LPG also went down. So let's not think the narrative that fuel prices went up. It's a global market price we use in this country.
Okay.
And as a net importer, where the government does not subsidize, there is a true cost. It's all over. I mean, go and check the flat prices, the ICE prices. PMS went up, right? Yes, CD depreciated just by 1 or 2%. You understand? By certain pesos. So we're not going to say that fuel prices. I mean, the petrol went up because of the Ghana cedis. You understand? We are reflective of what international benchmark prices are.
Okay.
And the argument today is, and I think I've been joining you for the past 5 minutes, and I've listened to the transporters saying that there are issues everywhere. You know, this price we are seeing is not going to stay. And I predicted yesterday. I mean, we interview with TV3, in the morning, that the fuel prices are going to come down to even $80 from wherever it is now. And we are going to go back to where we used to be. Are they telling us that when fuel price come to where, the normal, point, are they going to reduce the fares? That has never happened. They're going to stagnate there. And when anything happens, the fuel price go up again, that will be another reason for increasing transport fares. So whatever discussion we are having now, let's discuss holistically. For me, if you're increasing transportation prices, fares, just because of other auxiliary stuff, let it be the case. Announce it. Announce it. Let that be clear. Because for me, if you use fuel prices to estimate that, and we come back to 12, 11, we are going to write to you guys to reduce your fuel price. The transport fares.
When you look at the current market, Doc, are the pressures we're seeing lately, is it coming from global crude oil prices, exchange rate movements, or domestic factors here in Ghana, or other international concerns?
So for the past 3 windows, if you look at the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies bi-weekly report, window report on prices, you understand that for the past 3 windows, crude oil price itself has come down. It's been coming down. There's a nosedive.
Mm-hmm. True.
All right. And at the same time, the reason why we did not see that impact immediately was that, my brother, we sell old products. So this particular window, that is even coming down again. As we speak today, it's still coming down. The reason why we don't have that cost-reflective instant reflective measures is because the fuel I'm selling to you in the pump, it was not brought from the refinery today. It was brought last 2 weeks, and I paid the cost of it for last 2 weeks. That's why it takes a bit of time for us to see the changes. And at the same time, when fuel prices are going up, it takes time. And I'm telling you, when the trade of humans was closed, fuel prices in Ghana were stabilized until 2 weeks' time, because we had just entered a new window. No oil marketing company touched the prices at the pumps. We were monitoring it until the following window, when we had now brought in new products. That is when prices went up. So in the same vein, prices are coming down, we are monitoring it, and we forecast that it's going to go down even further. So we are the oil marketing side, that we don't want to hear that transport fares are going up because fuel prices are going up. That doesn't sit well with us.
Okay, but you mentioned that based on your monitoring in the coming days, next pricing window, for instance, maybe, fuel prices are expected to come down?
Again, yes. As I speak, LPG globally came down.
Mm-hmm.
Diesel came down. It's only petrol. And again, it's not a government decision.
Right.
That's why I always tell our politicians not to politicize this thing. You don't play politics with commodity that you don't have control over. This is not pure water. You understand what I'm talking about? So you don't have control over this product. Let's not make politics about it. International benchmark prices is all over the world. You can Google it, you can check. PMS went up where diesel and LPG came down. Simple.
So if it comes down, do we have an idea how much we're looking at, or what impact it will have at the pumps?
It's too early.
Okay.
We just entered the pricing window. In fact, we're just 2 days into a pricing window. We need 10 days more, minimum. Yeah.
Dr. Everson, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
Welcome.
Dr. Everson Opon is the CEO of COMAG, speaking with us there, and COMAG is the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Well, now some fuel prices have gone up slightly. Petrol mainly, diesel has come down, LPG some way somewhat, but he's telling us that in the coming days the projection is that it will come down further. I think I think that is the real reason why the concerned drivers have stalled or suspended the proposed increase, because if you increase now because it has gone up, and then in the next window it comes down, would you come down? I don't think they'll be willing to do that. So they better hold, okay, we'll not do it again. But based on the points that you were making and the concern they had that they attempted or they tried a number of occasions to engage with the ministry, but the ministry seemed evasive.
Yeah.
I think that's concerning.
Well, I mean, sometimes there are circumstances beyond, but I also feel like once you're in public office, you should be able to manage your schedule well to meet all the key
there were circumstances that was making them evade, if you like. Yeah. But after they suggested the 20%, the circumstances stopped. Now they are looking for them instead.
Yes, if Mohammed doesn't go to the mountain, the mountain has to go to Mohammed. So I think it's okay for them to I mean, they are like a union.
Yes.
You know, so you know the union style. Sometimes you have to mafia them small so that.
So now what happens? What happens to the expectations of the drivers?
I had the expectations, and I mean, as much as they have some of those expectations, I wouldn't dismiss it. I wouldn't do that for reasons we all know. I mean, they are an integral part of our economy, but one would have expected that. You know, some of the expectations seem a bit unrealistic. You know, one would have expected that they would have narrowed their expectations to road safety and, you know, driver welfare, you know, some exemptions on imports and things like that. I think those would have appeared much more realistic. But if you say you want a hospital,
well, for their drivers, they want terminals too at the stations.
So they want a hospital.
Some health package. Do something.
No, he didn't say a health package. He said he wants a hospital. A hospital.
If every group is looking for a hospital.
If every group is looking for a hospital, then we should have a hospital for our National House of Chiefs, isn't it? They are the custodians of the land.
Hospital for journalists.
Yeah, we should have a hospital for journalists. We should have a hospital for writers.
And DJs. DJ...
You know, we should have a hospital for those who work the night shift, the 24-hour economy.
Well, I think maybe it was how he communicated it, but looking at the interest of its members, they want something to be done in the area of health. But for commuters, we are happy. You say you increase it 20%, you did not increase it. Hooray, we're happy, because listening to the concerns many people were raising that, hey, Charlie, you are increasing lorry fare by 20%. My salary has not gone up by 20%. How do I pay the extra?
Yeah.
And now it is not happening again. So they are happy. The drivers, they were expectant. They were hoping. In fact, some told me they wanted more than 20%. They want 30%. And now they are not even getting the 20%. They will be disturbed kakra. Based on the fact that just yesterday, marginal increase in the price of petrol, so they will not be very happy. But we'll see how that goes.